Hello, everybody. This is Micah Lieberman with Scope and with Clinico. And once again, I'm interviewing a friend and a colleague who is active in the clinical research space. So this is Behtash Bahador from CISCRP. When we first got on the phone, I used his old job title, which is health literacy, which is what I think about when I think of CISCRP, broadly speaking. But his actual title is Senior Director of Community Engagement and Partnerships. So welcome, Behtash. Thanks for being here, man.
Thanks, Micah. Yeah,
Hey,
I'm excited to be here. Love Scope and love what you folks do to bring together, key stakeholders in the space because we all need to be communicating and learning from each other.
yeah, absolutely. And compliments back to you. We've been with CScript from the beginning, and you guys are always a part of Scope. You've always been a partner, and you do a lot of work. I think everybody knows you. I hope so. If they don't, maybe they will now. But I think everybody's received your reports. You do a lot of, you gather a lot of information from a lot of stakeholders, and then you kind of share that back out for the benefit of all. So I appreciate that. Um, Knowing that, I want to ask you a question. Um, and if you were Behtash from a sponsor org or from a CRO working for, my question I think would be narrower, but it's going to be a little broader and it's a little harder. So go where you want with it. It is thinking about what you do and all of the insights you gather. We talk a lot about patient engagement and the effectiveness of various channels. We're trying to understand, CScript stands for the Center for Information and Study for Clinical Research Participation. I mean, that's everything behind everything, what you're doing. So when we're talking about what is the return on investment, that's a terrible word, but I just want to say like metrics matter and you're gathering this. So when we talk about patient engagement, if I'm Micah from a CRO, from a patient recruitment company serving a sponsor, often I'm measuring things by a certain project, in this case, a specific trial.
That's right.
It starts, it goes, it ends. We kind of have our profit and loss statement on how many kits we had to send. Was there wastage? How much data did we collect? How many patients did we recruit? What does the data say? All this stuff. But engagement is a broader term, especially where you're coming from. So help me kind of explore this of measuring engagement, but beyond just looking at it, so many of us are project managers. We're assigned a project or a trial or a thing. So take it because I think it's harder to talk about when we're really stretching it out beyond a specific trial.
Yeah, yeah. And I think, really good juxtaposition with the term return on investment. And really what folks have been trying to do a little bit since I think around 2015 is return on engagement, right?
Yeah.
We've seen a couple studies that came out from Tufts Center for the Study of Drug Development, along with Duke's Clinical Trial Transformation Initiative, City. They did a return on engagement sort of project to see, can they apply a financial framework to see how different kinds of patient engagement activities may actually affect the efficiency of trials, right? Study startup, reduction of amendments, improvement in recruitment, improvement in retention. And those things are really important. And I would say, insofar as I know, the last couple of years, we haven't seen as much of that shared out. And, that's partially probably because folks are so focused on internally just sort of aligning initiatives with metric collection, analyzing that information, right? And so hopefully there's going to be some sharing out from sponsors and their partners in doing patient engagement work fairly soon. But in the absence of that, we're left to sit here and wonder with a number of other stakeholders, what does it mean to have return on engagement in community engagement, in other kinds of patient engagement work? So if you look at it on the continuum from a patient's perspective, before I'm in a trial, while I'm in a trial, after I'm in a trial, right?
Yes. That's easy terms. I think that's the best way to say it. Yes. We got to think about it like that. Yep.
Exactly. So during and after the trial, much easier to get those metrics, right? Not saying it's easy, but it's much easier because we have I use this term loosely, but a captive audience, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have participants in a trial, they're at a site, that site can implement measures, they can more easily tie really directly, we did this thing, we provided these kinds of either materials, right, communications for the participants, or we implemented this kind of approach to, let's say, decentralized trial or this new technology, this new app. And we saw overall this kind of change in, retention and recruitment and participant satisfaction. And maybe we even actually asked specifically, right, with regard to each of these activities. Again, that's a lot of extra stuff to add on top of just conducting the trial, right? And getting your trial data. But I do think that that's something that folks are looking to do. And again, made much easier at the site level, right? At the trial level. But once you go before that, now it's much more difficult, right?
Mm-hmm.
Before a study starts, what are the ways that we're engaging with patients? Well, there's patient involvement, right? Working with patients, caregivers, patient community more broadly to inform protocol design, inform study planning, and execution. There are ways to connect that, right? You can compare to other trials that haven't had those activities and, again, go by those same efficiency metrics with regard to trial execution, protocol amendments, right? Study startup timing, et cetera, et cetera. But if you go a little bit further back than that and you say, our key issue is that we're not reaching enough people, we're not engaging enough patients, members of the public, community members, and we need to improve that. And that's, of course, been an important focus for sites and sponsors, right, in recent years, to varying degrees for varying different reasons.
Right.
But it continues to always be a problem, right? You need to have more individuals representing various different communities participating in clinical trials, right? You find it much more difficult to tie the type of effective community engagement initiatives to those ROI metrics.
Right? Okay. So, and by the way, I purposely used ROI because it sounds terrible, but I was just trying to kind of get a conversation going. I like return on engagement, and we're not being crass. We're saying how many dollars did I spend and how many that we're saying what you just said is this is like advertising too. Like if I'm trying to engage a broad group of people to buy my shoes, we invest in radio ads, TV ads, we do some social, we do all these things. And sometimes it's hard to measure. Where did the light bulb go off to that client who came into my running store and got my shoes? And you ask them, they say, well, I saw the billboard, but it might have been, they don't remember. They heard your ad on the radio. They saw it on your kid's cereal box. I'm just getting really general with advertising, but there's a lot to say about this, that it's often not easy to exactly measure when you broke through into that population, that group.
Right.
So some of that early engagement is very powerful, and some of it's experimental. You have to do pilots. We have a lot of these presentations at Scope where friends of ours from the patient advocacy community or from sponsors work together and say, we did this because we didn't have a specific trial in mind. We were just wanted to make sure we were present and active in this disease community. They may not even have a molecule in development, but they're in that space because these are the people that you're ultimately doing the work for, and they're the ones that could power you. Like you mentioned, engage these people early, patients, to improve your protocol. Not rocket science, like smart, right? Avoid the amendments. So getting out what you just said, though, going earlier and earlier, it gets harder to measure. So
that's right.
What are some of the arguments? If I'm Micah and I'm the head of patient engagement and I'm really involved in enrollment planning at my sponsor organization and I'm in oncology, whatever it is, every therapeutic area has its own challenges and opportunities. Like, are there certain arguments that I can bring to the table to say, hey, I want to start this early and I'm going to do 10 things and I can't promise you which of the 10 are going to yield.
That's right.
The best, right? How would you help me in my job?
Yeah.
I don't know, argue for more budget, argue for more freedom to be creative, to
Hmm.
get out there and engage these communities early.
Right. Right. Well, and it's where is the budget coming from? Right. So program or trial allocations are much more difficult, right? They need to be well aligned with respect to timing. And for that, that's where you probably need the type of community engagement channels that are well established, right?
Okay.
And that's where you say data of any kind is really impactful, right?
Hmm.
Because the more that you know about a patient population, not with respect to just cold hard data, but information, the more insights that you have about a particular patient community, the more that you will be able to tailor and design your programs. Meaning, so if you have a very activated uh, small patient community, your tactics are going to be quite different from a
Correct.
much larger community
Right.
that is not activated, that maybe historically has some significant trust issues with pharma, with clinical research, with maybe just, health care institutions in general, right? And so that's where, for that particular approach, you're going to need much longer running reciprocal relationships where community members, and we're talking locally, right? Of
Right.
course, you want to have, national impact as much as possible. You want to have general awareness programs that are bringing recognition to your organization, to your focus, where you're working, and to raise awareness about clinical research. But on a very local level, you want to be interacting with individuals from communities, with the community leaders, with those folks who are going to be, sort of ambassadors for clinical research, and they're looking to advocate for their own family members and friends and folks within their
Yeah.
city. Um, you want to be working with them for years,
I
right?
think
They
I think
truly,
your answer is dead on, and it's what we know, which is it's hard work.
it's hard work. That's
It
right.
takes time,
Yep.
but you got to be committed to it.
Hmm.
And it's a win-win. And I got to say, all my friends at Scope, all the people that you and I know who do this work, they know that, and they're doing it.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
doing it. Um,
Yes.
okay, so I think that there is no magic. It's hard
No.
work.
No.
You got it. You
Yeah.
got to engage and find your champions and be their champions as well. All right. Well,
And
go
And
ahead.
Mike, I'll just add, and we need to be really thoughtful to learn from those experiences and share it up, right?
Yep.
So establish your ROI, make sure that you have collaboration set out from the beginning with a clear goal of also, well, let's share our learnings here.
Yep.
Let's make sure that we are giving back to the broader industry with regard to what worked here. How did we
Yep.
accomplish this? And maybe then we can start to create some more efficient ways of accomplishing this, right?
Good. That's good. All right, Behtash, we'll talk again because I know we have other stuff we wanted to talk about, but we're out of time.
And
This is good. I think this is fun stuff. I think it's important. I think people will agree with this. We're probably not telling them the stuff they don't know. My hope is
Mhm.
that we're maybe reinvigorated them to kind of continue to
Yeah,
do what needs to be done. And cool. But everybody, Behtash from CISCRP, thanks for doing the work you're doing. I
thanks,
appreciate it.
Marcus.
Okay.
Take care.